This time on Little Boat Adventures, we head out on our longest sail yet, test out our new drone, and unexpectedly have our first night sail. Well, it's a lovely sunny Sunday morning in September. Me and Kelly have managed to get a few days off together, so we've decided to try and take the boat from Strangford Lough round to a place called the Copeland Islands, which is just in the Irish Sea at the entrance to Belfast Lough. Weather permitting, we're then tomorrow going to try and make it over to Scotland. So that's the plan, and we're quite excited about it, but a bit nervous too because we haven't had the boat that far. But we've spent the last couple of days doing as much preparation as we can, tides, weather, things like that. So we've just had our safety brief there, and we're going to get ready to go. So this is our starting point. Our cruising club is just in here between these two islands, Rainy Island and Portpatrick Island. And what we're doing is we've just motored out through the shallows there into the main body of Strangford Lough. We're just going to make our way down here, and then that will take us into this area, which is called the Narrows. You can see why. It has a very strong tidal stream having them flooding. So at the minute it's still flooding, but it's going to take us a while to get down there, and hopefully we'll just get down there at the turn of the tide, and we'll get down through the Narrows quickly, and then we're going to hang a left and head up through the Irish Sea up to place called Copeland Islands, and they're actually not on this map, on this chart, sorry, they're on another chart, but we'll do it in a bit more detail once we're sorted. So just on a beam reach at the minute, or just shy of a beam reach, making our way south down Strangford Lough. The tide is against us for another hour or so, and then it'll be in our favour. But it's turned out to be a beautiful day. How's Kelly feeling about her trip?
Excited. Excited to get out of the loch.
Yeah, we're both excited to get out of the loch. We've been in the loch sailing for just over a year now. Well, I have. Kelly's maybe a wee bit. Not as long as that. But the boat hasn't been out of the loch since it was brought round here first. Getting close to 2 years now, I think. So it's going to be nice to get it out of the loch and onto the Irish Sea to see how I would do with some sailing there. So, during the summer, Kelly and I decided to buy ourselves a drone. We took the opportunity to launch the drone off the boat while the weather was calm and get some nice aerial shots of the boat sailing down the loch. So as you can see here, launching the drone off the boat was a lot easier than it was trying to recover it. Progress report. We're now going almost 2 hours, mainly under motor, because the wind is very slight. I would say it's probably about 6 or 7 knots, and we're just about to enter the Narrows. It's still not the turn of the tide, so the tide's still coming through the Narrows, so I would anticipate starting to slow down until the tide slackens off. But so far the weather's lovely. We could just do with a little bit more wind and then we could get the engine off. But going well. Just coming between the towns of Portpatrick and Strangford on our starboard side there, and the Portpatrick ferry is just leaving the port. It's a passenger ferry that links the two towns. So just in the distance there you can see Angus Rock Tower, and it's just a tower just at the entrance of Strangford Lough. So that was us just out of the loch and into the Irish Sea. So as we turned and headed north up the Irish Sea, contrary to the forecast, the wind had backed and was now coming from a northerly direction. So we had to drop the sails and start the engine. So I'm not sure if you'll hear this okay between the wind and the noise of the engine. But the wind is right on the nose. We're heading north up the Irish Sea. The coast, Northern Ireland coast on that side. In the distance, away in the distance, is the Isle of Man. We're heading north. The wind's coming from the north-northeast. But we have about half an hour tide with us, and the engine's going, and we're doing about 5 knots at the minute. We've still a long way to go, and it's just past 5 o'clock in the evening, so we're hoping we'll get in before sunset. So we'll just keep plugging away, but the weather stayed really nice for us. The only downside is the wind is coming head on now, but we're making good progress into the wind. Unfortunately, the trip up the Irish Sea was taking longer than planned. As you can see here, we started to lose daylight. So we started to push the engine a bit harder to try and get us to our anchorage before it became dark. Neither of us had sailed in the dark before, so we were a bit apprehensive about that. But also we didn't want to be getting into the anchorage at night time and then having to drop the anchor in the dark. With Kelly at the helm, I went forward just to sort out the anchor and the anchor chain as best I can in preparation for our anchoring. I was pretty sure that it was going to be dark when we got to our anchorage, so every little bit of preparation that I could do before that would help. As you can see here, we couldn't outrun the darkness. We still had another 2 miles to go, and the sun had already set. Unfortunately, we weren't able to film much coming into the anchorage. Kelly had to take the helm and I went forward to operate the anchor. It was pitch black and we just had to concentrate, put all our attention on getting safely into the anchorage. So like I say, we weren't able to film anything. It was the first time I'd done anything like this, and it was pretty nerve-wracking. We couldn't really see the shore from the boat, so we couldn't get a good we didn't have good spatial awareness. The only thing we really had was our navionics showing our boat's position in relation to the coastline, and that's all we could really rely on. This is just a snapshot of navionics and the track that we used to come into the anchorage there at Copeland Islands. Now, the winds forecast were 8 to 10 knots through the night, but they were more like 12 to 15 knots through the night. The wind had backed round and was coming from the southwest, which was right up into this little channel of the anchorage. So we had a bit of a bumpy night, and it was difficult to settle because, like I say, we weren't aware of our surroundings because it was dark when we went in. So it was an unsettled night at anchor for me anyway. Just monitoring the anchor alarm and our position with navionics. In total, the sail time was 8 hours and 11 minutes with a distance covered of 35.8 nautical miles. So by far this was our longest sail yet, which was an achievement. But we were looking forward to the next day to hopefully get our sails up and get across to Scotland. Join us next time on Little Boat Adventures, when bad weather means we have to take refuge in a local marina. We eventually head off for Scotland, but a silly mistake ends in disaster. Thanks again for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. For other ways to support our channel and the production of these videos, there are some links in the description below. Please consider becoming a Patreon, where you can have early access to all our new videos, including our next episode, which you can watch there now.